Evening, everyone. I'd like to call to order the Tuesday, May 14th meeting of the Common Council. It is 7 p.m. The first order of business will be the roll call. I'll ask our city clerk, Joanne Marcon, to call the roll.
Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Sean McAllister,
Here.
Dan Stevens,
Present.
Stephen Knott,
Present.
Mike Milky,
Here.
Larry Jurassic,
Present.
Diane Wolf. Here.
Thank you. We are all in attendance. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for that. Item 3, the rules of the City of Onalaska Common Council and its subcommittees. This is a harassment-free forum. City council and subcommittee meetings shall be conducted in a courteous manner. Citizens, council, and committee members shall be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free of slander, obscene remarks, or threats of violence. Sufficient warnings may be given by the sergeant at arms or the chair at any time during the remarks. And in the event that any individual shall violate the rules of decorum as set forth, such person may then be cut off from comment or debate. Item 4 is public input. Anyone who would like to give input to the Onalaska Common Council, now is the time to do so. Please begin by stating your name and your address, and please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Would anybody like to address the Common Council this evening? Second call for anyone wishing to address the Common Council this evening. Welcome, sir.
I am Ward Kyle, 426 4th Avenue North, and I'm here to finish up what I could not finish the last meeting, not your celebration and swearing in committee, but the meeting before that. Am I here to protest? Yes, I still have a little hair issue. No, chief, I did not bring a tent, but I've had several people talk to me about this, and this is why I'm here to finish this up. This is a great community to live in. It has great schools, and the city of Onalaska has great department heads. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You have 2 fine chiefs. You have a park and rec director that you would have trouble replacing. You have a city planner who has done extremely well. You have other departments, your water and your street department. You have an excellent city engineer. I do have to make a comment about that, however. I have met his mother a few times over the years. I have to say, I think I like her just a tad better, but I can understand where Jared gets his sweetness from because she is a fantastic woman. And you, Your Honor, over the years I have known you, you have given much of your time in your life to make this community what it is. You are respected, and I do get around just a little bit. And you are thanked by people who have never even had the privilege of meeting you. Trust me, they thank you for what you have done. And that brings me to this. There is no reason for this kind of trash to appear in this community. Anybody who is possibly thinking of politics in the future, I hope that they do not think this is part of the game. I've been in Chicago politics for almost 20 years. People up here have no clue what it's like. It smells. And this, I hope, does not set a precedent for anybody who feels that they should serve this community in the future. It is too great a community for that. If this sets a precedent, there will be a slide. And in all the kids' playgrounds I've been in, I have never seen a slide go up. It always comes down. And with that, I wish all of you the best of everything. thank you for a great community, which you have made this. And let's keep it that way. With that, good night. I made it in time, and Your Honor.
Thank you, sir. It's probably the one time, no. Thank you for your comments. Would anybody else like to address the Common Council this evening? Second call for public input. Third and final call for anyone wishing to address the Common Council this evening. Public input is now closed and we'll go on to number 5, the report from the mayor. This is Public Service Week. And I put out a proclamation last week, it was actually last week, in recommending that. It is attached in your agenda, if you can read that one. Thank you all city staff, and not only our own city staff, but the public servants in our surrounding community and throughout our state and this country. I really do believe in community service, that you all who are working to make our community a better place are really deserving of our appreciation and thanks. And I truly appreciate all you're doing. The proclamation is just some kind words, but really your job continues throughout the year and we do appreciate you every day. Item B, presentation of the Onalaska Area Business Association Mayor's Award to Joel Thole. I was able to present that award at the lunch of the OBA lunch today to Joel, citizen. I chose to give him that award through the Onalaska Area Business Association because of his many years of involvement in our community and all he's done, especially for our youth. It was very easy to pick him out as this year's award recipient. Also receiving awards at the annual OBA banquet were Jared Benson. He received, this is item C, he received the Hometown Hero Award, was nominated to the Business Association and they selected him. And again, another item D, another City of Onalaska person was chosen for the President's Award, and that was Justin Swartling for all that he's done to promote the Omni Center and just really help strengthen our business community by having strong and well-attended events at the Omni Center. So I think it really all goes to show it ties in very nicely with the Public Service Week proclamation, because all of you are doing so much for our community that affects beyond these halls, but it also affects other people, other people's businesses. And that was very much appreciated by our business community last week. So thank you all, well-deserved awards. And that's all I have on that. Next up, recommendations for approval and/or possible action from the following committees, commissions, boards, or officials. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests removal, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the order of business on the non-consent agenda. Are there any items the councilors would like removed from the consent agenda? Not seeing or hearing any, I'll entertain.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Dan Stevens. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic to approve the consent agenda. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Sorry, Stephen, I'll slow down. Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much. Moving on to the non-consent agenda. Item 7 is a recap of the items pulled from the consent agenda. There were none, which brings us to item 8, the Finance Committee. I'll turn it over to Sean McAllister for this portion of the agenda.
Thank you, Mayor. In front of each of you, you have a list of the vouchers for tonight. The following is, and I'll make a motion to approve the list of monies expended since the last Common Council meeting dated April 9th in the amount of $4,230,764.08.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Sean McAllister. It's been seconded by Diane Wolf to approve the vouchers as described. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Back to you, Sean.
Item B, I'll also make a motion for approval to award the wayfinding signs request for proposal to Serigraphic Screen Print, Inc. in the amount of $28,360.
Second.
Okay, motion on the floor by Sean McAllister. It's been seconded by Mike Milky to approve the award as described. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. All those in favor of approving this bid award, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you, Sean. Item 9 is Judiciary Committee. I'll turn this portion over to Stephen Knott.
Thank you, Mayor. The decision to delay or to, I guess, put it on the non-consent agenda from last week was based on that we did not want to go forward with a motion and discussion on that motion until it was in front of the Common Council. I will go ahead and make a motion, and then I guess if I get a second, we can discuss it and I can give my reasoning behind it. I'm going to make a motion to amend ordinance 1788-2024, section 7.07.25 to remove subsection A, which is on page 22 of your packet there. And I guess I can read that 1 second. And that section states, recreational fires may occur from 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. No person shall maintain a fire for more than 4 continuous hours per day.
Was that your motion, Stephen?
Yes, motion was to amend ordinance 1788-2024, section 7.07.25 to remove subsection A, and I just read what that was.
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic. Is there discussion?
I, of course, do.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Okay, so I've brought this up. I think this might be the 4th time since I've been in holding this office on issues every now and then. Firmly believe this personal perception, and then I'll go into some details that I think are supporting this, that nearly every ordinance that we do is going to put certain restrictions to some degree or other onto citizen liberties. And therefore, it is my personal view that we should only be putting ordinance items in place when there is a compelling need. And then, even then, it should be authored to minimize restrictions to the greatest extent in order to meet that need. Now, fire safety, clearly, in my mind, is a compelling need. However, as stated, you'll see in your notes from last week, when I asked the fire chief as well, I don't believe, the chief also expressed that he doesn't believe that subsection has any impact whatsoever on fire safety. The reasons for that would be inside that ordinance, you still have that any fire, no matter how long it burns or what time of day it burns, has to be continually supervised, has to be in the proper pit or container. Examples are in there like, 3-foot diameter. It has to have a screen or a lid. There has to be some way to put it out quickly. There's an extinguisher as an example. There's distances from structures, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All those would still apply, and those, of course, are directly meeting a compelling need of safety. But this section here is not for what anyone would even consider nuisance concerns. So if somebody, for instance, is concerned, well, if they have a fire that is at 1 a.m. and people are being loud, well, we have noise ordinances for that. We have light ordinances, although I can't imagine a fire pit would ever violate that. And even in this updated ordinance here, there's even a section on there for nuisance smoke, which is subsection K. All of that would still apply. Question is why would 4 hours or midnight or what have you have any impact whatsoever on any of these other items that are already controlled? I'll give you an example. If somebody wants to have a graduation party and they want to burn a fire pit for 6 hours, why do we care? As long as they are meeting all the safety needs that are listed inside of this ordinance. if I personally want to go out with my adult children and roast marshmallows at 1 o'clock in the morning, why would we care? As long as I am meeting all of the safety needs inside of that ordinance. And I would argue that these items, although, you know, they might seem to some extent even trivial, I don't know, I would argue the issue is bigger than any individual ordinance, because bottom line is elected body should not be imposing restrictions simply because we can, or because somebody has individual feelings on something. There needs to be a compelling need, or we could be putting ourselves into a road of controls and even potentially tyranny that I don't think anybody inside of any city, county, state, or nation really wants to have that type of chaos coming down from elected officials. So that's why I removed it. The bottom line, it has no safety impact. It has no impact on our noise ordinances. It has no impact on any other ordinance we have that already control bad behavior from neighbors who shouldn't be behaving in such a fashion. It just, in my mind, serves no purpose, and I guess that's it.
Thank you, Stephen. Let's have Chief Floody. Do you want to make a comment? And then we'll go to the other counselors.
Thank you, Mayor. When I brought this forward, we actually amended item K in here to, talk about the smoke complaints, and Alder Knott did bring this up before the A&J meeting last week. And quite honestly, I overlooked the 7 a.m. to 12 a.m. part in there, item K. We good? Everybody can hear? Okay. So I guess from my perspective, as far as the fire department is concerned, it really doesn't have a bearing as far as fire behavior and that sort of thing. If you're burning for 6 hours or burning from 7 a.m. until, or 1 o'clock in the morning or whatever. So I guess that's kind of my comments on that. I did look back and looked at the previous department I was at in Marshfield. We also had a recreational fire ordinance and there were no time limits in there. I will say that the arguments made at A&J last week did talk about, if you're burning a fire for more than 6 hours, is there a greater chance of somebody leaving that fire unattended? Yes, there is. But as Alder Knott pointed out, there are restrictions in here to make sure that fire is attended. So it's kind of a coin flip as far as that's concerned, but those are kind of my comments on it. So
I do have one question though. So the original item on the agenda is for the items that are highlighted in the attached ordinance. And then Stephen Knott is wanting to add removal of that times constriction to the changes already described, correct? I just want to make sure we're all on the same.
Correct.
correct.
Okay, thank you. All right, counselors, Dan Stevens.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would concur with Alder Knott. I don't really understand on subsection A. I don't really see what problem that is solving. I fail to see, somebody would have to present an argument why 4 hours is okay, but 5 hours is bad. People could walk away, but you could walk away after a half hour, and that regulates for that. Additionally, I think it creates an extra problem I don't think that we would have the means to enforce this. I mean, we're not sending our firefighters or police officers out to monitor, how long fires have been going. I don't think this part is necessary, and I would agree that there's not a compelling reason why we should be putting these restrictions in place.
Okay, Alder Jurassic.
Basically going to copy the same thing my other two aldermen stated. The only addition, I had an individual say that when he found out about this, mentioned, well, a good pig roast is more than 4 hours, so.
Okay, and
Technically, that happens in lacrosse though, so.
any other counselors who have not spoken yet that would like to give input on this topic? Okay, so the motion on the floor is to, sorry, Alder Wolf, go ahead.
I was a late hand raiser. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yeah, I went back and just kind of looked back in past history, and it was interesting that when this was brought before us back in 2004, I think we talked about it at an A&J level for up to 6 months. I went back and forth and made a lot of changes. There were so many meetings, I did not have the time to go ahead and read pages and pages, but I did read the last couple months of when it was finally, because I was also curious as to why those hours were set. What I do know though is that it was approved initially, finally, February 8th, 2005 council meeting. And those hours at that time was set for 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. I certainly understand the conversation and the opinions that have already been expressed this evening. I am still going to vote no to the change. I do agree with all the other changes that Chief Letty's brought forth, but I do not support removing item A, so I will be voting no, but thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so then the motion on the floor, to recap, is to amend, this is ordinance 1788, 2024, to amend Division 2, Chapter 7 of Title 7 of the Code of Ordinances on the City of Onalaska relating to open burning and recreational fire regulations. The red line is in our packet. And in the motion, Stephen Knott has additionally added the removal of item 70726A, which outlines the time and duration that fires can, that would be removed in its entirety. Is that correct, Stephen?
Yes, and I'm glad you caught that. My motion was for 70725A, but that is the incorrect, it should be 70726. I did read exactly what it said, so that should have clarified it. But yes, it's 707.26A. Or no, 6 is, I have it right. 6 is actually lined out.
Right, I wrote
It is
down,
5. I had it correct. It is 5, 25, yes.
So, Your Honor, are we voting on the amendment to remove A, or are we voting on the whole package?
I believe he made it one motion on the whole package. Is that correct, Stephen?
I just made it as an amendment, but it can be, because it already come forward as is. Again, we decided not to do the amendment there and bring it to discussion here. So as it is in our packet, it's as printed. So I've made it to amend it.
Okay,
We could just vote on the
So it
amendment.
will require a second vote is what I'm saying.
we didn't have a motion on, when you said that, we didn't have a motion on the floor. So I believed that to be your motion.
I see what you're saying. Okay, yes.
So let's just remove the motion and second and then restate it correctly for the record. So we can have clarity if everyone is
Okay.
amenable to that.
All right.
Unless some-
I'll move to approve ordinance number 1788-2024 with the exception of paragraph 7.07.25A, which I would like to strike.
I will second.
Okay, so Stephen Knott has made his motion and Dan Stevens has seconded it. Is there any more discussion or questions about the motion?
So to clarify, a yes vote will approve this and remove part A.
That is my understanding.
Okay.
Larry Jurassic, you have a question?
I said, that's gonna be a separate vote for the no, for the.
He made it as one
Removal part?
motion,
Okay, either way.
right?
Right, and just for the record, we're withdrawing the original motion that was made by Stephen Knott and seconded by Larry Jurassic.
Remove the second.
Okay. Right, are we ready to vote? Should we vote by roll call, just for clarity, in case we have dissension? Joanne will do the roll call. Please answer when your name is called.
Sean McAllister,
Yes.
Dan Stevens,
Aye.
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Mike Milky,
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
Aye.
Diane Wolf.
Nay.
Thank you. That passes 5-1. Okay, thank you for that discussion. Item 10, City Administrator Report. I'll turn it over to Rick Niemeyer for updates on various city projects.
Thank you, Mayor. You should have the report either was emailed or put in the packet earlier today. Just a couple updates on a couple of things. Community Center, with some recent discussions, plans are being revised. So there will be a slight delay in the timeline for going out for bid, but that should be later this month or early June at the latest. As the mayor has recognized earlier, last week was Public Service Recognition Week. I just want to take a moment. I know, Mayor, that you had thanked all the staff. I would like to thank all the elected officials also for all the things that they do for the city and the community as well too. That does not go unnoticed either. But last week, the city provided a lunch for staff on Wednesday. The church across the street also provided a lunch for staff. And so that was on Thursday for noon. And then we also did provide work anniversary recognition for those who were at their 5, 10, 15, 5-year increment periods as well too. But obviously we thank everybody who's been working with the city for their hard work. So that was kind of a fun week. The new printers will be delivered and installed this week. So you'll be noticing that there will be fewer printers around. Or did I say this week, this month, and but they will be more efficient, right, Joe? The ERP RFP that has been finalized, and that will be going out next week. As you all know, that's a very large RFP that Joe is, and amongst others, has been great in getting that together, and that will be going out, and hopefully we'll getting the bids in July, I think, is when we take a look at them. So. The website is again getting close to being launched. The staff are continuing to update all of their pages. We have made a decision to go from a .com to a .gov. That is in the process. It will add some security features. That will take a little while, but that will be the timing of the release will work out good. So when we do release the new website, it'll be .gov. Anybody who goes to the .com website will be directed to the .gov website for a year. So there'll be that. In late April, there was the Build My Future event. I don't know if any of you had a chance to stop out there. Because of the size of the event, they rent the Omni Center, but we also utilized a good portion of the Public Works building, I think the whole Public Works building. Just wanted to mention it was a pretty awesome event, showcased a lot of our staff in various capacities because there was fire and police and Public Works, everybody were out there. So it was a pretty cool event. If you get a chance to go next year, I would highly recommend it. We also had the Careers on Wheels event, and that was on the 10th. That was held in the parking lot out here. That's where area businesses bring in their equipment, and then school-age children come through and they can actually get in the equipment. I think the popular one was pulling the horn on one of the dump trucks out there that the kids enjoyed doing. So again, another pretty cool event to be able to showcase local businesses as well as the city. And then I have on there just the things that I've done over the meetings and events I went to over the last week. So that's all I have.
Well, thank you for that.
Thank you.
Okay, item 8, to discuss and set a time for the June special common council meeting to establish council budget goals and objectives for the 2025 budget.
Yeah,
You
so
have
in
a
the
preliminary suggestion, Rick?
Yes, thank you. In previous years, there has been that informational meeting or meeting where there's been discussion about what some of the priorities are for the following budget year. So we are recommending or suggesting, I should say, either Monday, June 17th or Tuesday, June 18th for that meeting. And then, of course, a time for the meeting as well, too, as to what's available.
Tuesday nights in the summer are not a good night for me.
Okay.
So my preference would be the 17th
right.
Monday.
My preference is for Monday. Sean says Monday, Diane says Monday.
Monday works.
Monday, okay, we got Monday.
Okay.
Now we
And
can do
then what time are
time. I
people
know it's-
available?
Staff request, the earliest is the best.
Correct.
So what is the earliest time? Diane?
Did we hear from Stephen?
Oh, I'm sorry, Stephen. Thank you, Diane.
No, that's right. If I had a big problem, I would have jumped in. As long as it's not on June 20th, I'm good pretty much and flexible for the whole month.
Okay. Stephen, what time would work for you?
Flexible.
Okay. How long do we anticipate the meeting to last?
My understanding is in past, it has been at least an hour, if not longer.
Long.
Longer, okay. So I'm anticipating, 1 to 2 hours, depending on how many priorities that the council wants to
Also depends what memo you put out.
Yes.
And like the example of one I sent you,
Yep.
depending upon what questions you may frame to everyone to be
Certainly.
thinking about.
Mhm.
Do you want to try to do this at like 5 o'clock for staff so they're not here as long? And they don't have to leave and come back or?
Yeah, I think staff would prefer earlier is better was the feedback that I received.
May I interject?
Yes.
There is court that night, so I think the earliest that you would be able to start is probably 4 o'clock.
Okay, well, let's start with 4.
Or,
We already at
Oh.
5?
no, we're at 5.
Okay, well, she said the earliest the room was available was 4. So I said, we'll start with 4 and then we'll go, since staff feedback was as early as possible, I thought we'll start with the earliest time and then move that way. Okay, so someone says not 4, but 5. It's 5. Stephen, would 5 PM on Monday, June 17th work for you?
Yes.
Okay, do we need a motion or can we just have an indication?
I think as long as we have an indication, we should be fine. I don't think we need a formal motion.
Okay, if someone knows they have a conflict, now is the time. Okay. Okay. Item 11. That's good. Closed session, to consider a motion to convene in closed session under session under section 1985 1D of the Wisconsin statutes to consider specific applications of probation, extended supervision, or parole, or considering strategy for crime detection or prevention, specifically city safety and security measures. If any action is required in open session as a result of the closed session, the council will reconvene in open session to take the necessary action and or continue on with the printed agenda. Do we have a motion?
Move that we go into closed session.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Dan Stevens. It's been seconded by Diane Wolf to go into closed session. The voting will be by roll call.
Diane Wolf,
Aye.
Dan Stevens,
Aye.
Stephen Knott,
Aye.
Sean McAllister.
Aye.
Larry Jurassic,
I,
Mike Milky.
Aye.
Thank you. We are in closed session. The time is 7:33.
Little voice. Your Honor, I would like to make a motion. My motion is I move to allow purchase of software updates and site security in the total amount of $56,000 to be applied towards the account of 207-51540-810.
second,
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor by Alder Wolf. It's been seconded by Alder Jurassic to purchase software updates and site security as described. Is there any discussion? Not seeing any. All in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you.
Move that we adjourn.
I second.
Motion by Dan Stevens, second by Larry Jurassic to adjourn. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any
Aye.
Any opposed? We are adjourned and the time is 7:59. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and thank you, staff.
That's pretty good.